Have you ever stared up at the night sky and felt that itch? That deep, primal pull to see more, to understand the tiny dots of light, to finally witness the rings of Saturn with your own eyes? You're in the right place, because today we're talking about the gateway drug to the cosmos, the Celestron NexStar 127SLT. This is the telescope that promises to transform that vague longing into jaw-dropping reality in under 5 minutes. But here's what surprised me. It's not even the optics that make this thing a secret weapon for beginners. However, there's a massive misconception about computerized scopes that stops most people from even trying. Therefore, I'm giving you 3 reasons why you might be completely wrong about what this telescope can do. For the best price, click the link in the description. /n/n. Let's be brutally honest for a second. The biggest dream killer for aspiring astronomers isn't light pollution or even budget. It's frustration. You buy a big, complicated tube on a wobbly tripod. You spend an hour fighting with manuals trying to find anything. You finally point it at a bright star, only to get a blurry, vibrating mess. You pack it away, defeated. Sound familiar? That experience is why so many telescopes gather dust in closets. But what if you could skip all that? Therefore, imagine this instead. You carry a single, surprisingly light box outside. You set up a sturdy tripod, snap on the telescope, press one button, and watch as the whole thing springs to life, whirring and pointing itself at the sky. Within minutes, you're not fumbling. You're viewing. That's the first revolutionary promise of the NexStar 127SLT, and it's a complete game changer. But is the computer just a crutch, or is it a genuine teacher? We'll get to that. /n/n first, let's talk about that computer brain, because Celestron's sky-aligned technology is where the magic, and a lot of the skepticism, lives. You don't need to know Orion from your elbow. The process is stupidly simple. You point the scope at 3 bright objects. Any bright objects. Could be stars, planets, even the moon. The hand controller asks you to center each one in the eyepiece and press enter. That's it. The onboard computer, with its database of over 40,000 celestial objects, then triangulates its position and figures out exactly where it's looking. From that moment on, you are in command. Want to see Jupiter? Scroll to it on the menu, press GoTo, and the scope elegantly slews across the sky, stopping with the gas giant centered in your eyepiece. It feels like cheating. It feels like the future. And for a beginner drowning in the sheer scale of the universe, it is an absolute lifeline. But here's the twist, and my first major reason you need to try this scope. This computerized system isn't just about convenience. It's the ultimate astronomy tutor. /n/n. Think about it. The biggest hurdle to learning the night sky is the overwhelming, where do I even start? Paralysis. With a manual scope, you might spend your entire first night just trying and failing to find the Andromeda galaxy. The NexStar removes that barrier to entry completely. It delivers the wow factor immediately. Saturn's rings. Here you go, the Orion Nebula, coming right up. This instant gratification is crucial. It hooks you. It builds confidence. But therefore, the real education begins because you're not just staring at a pretty picture. You're building a mental map. You hear the scope slew to M57. You look it up on the controller, the Ring Nebula. And now you've not only seen a dying star's final breath, you've learned its name and catalog designation. Over time, you start recognizing patterns. You'll notice that when the scope slews low in the summer sky, it's heading toward the rich starfields of Sagittarius. You begin to connect the dots yourself, but with a guide doing the heavy lifting. It's like having a personal tour guide for the galaxy, one that never gets impatient. And speaking of what you're actually seeing, let's dive into the heart of the machine, the optics. Because a smart scope with bad eyes is just a fancy paperweight. /n/n. This brings me to reason number 2, the Maksutov-Cassegrain optical design. Now that's a $10 phrase, but the concept is simple and brilliant. The 127 SLT uses a sealed optical tube with a clever combination of mirrors and a lens. This design allows a long focal length, 1,500 mm, to be packed into a tube that's only about a foot long. This means you get serious, high magnification power in a supremely portable package. No giant, intimidating light cannon. It's compact, manageable, and looks like something a friendly astronaut might use. But the real benefit of this MacCass design is its performance. The sealed tube means no dust gets inside to ruin your views. More importantly, the design is legendary for delivering razor-sharp, high-contrast images with virtually no chromatic aberration, that ugly color fringing you see on cheap refractors. When you point this at the moon, the detail is staggering. Craters look sculpted, mountain ranges cast long, sharp shadows. It's a lunar landscape, not just a bright blob. And for planets, this is where the 127 aperture sings. Jupiter's cloud bands are clearly defined. You can see the great red spot when it's facing us. You'll spot its 4 largest moons, like tiny diamonds on a velvet string. Saturn, the rings are unmistakable. You might even glimpse the Cassini division, the dark gap between its rings. On a steady night, you're getting planetary views that would have made Galileo weep with joy. But therefore you might be thinking, great, it finds stuff and shows it clearly. What's the catch? Ah, my friend, this is where we address the elephant, or perhaps the dwarf planet in the room. \n\n every telescope is a compromise. The NexStar 127SLT's compromise is its field of view and its ideal targets. That long focal length that gives great planet views means it's not a wide field sweeping the Milky Way machine. Massive nebulae like the North America Nebula will be a challenge because they're simply too big. This scope excels at lunar, planetary, and smaller deep sky objects, globular clusters, planetary nebulae, and double stars. Think of it as a precision instrument, not a wide-angle lens. That's not a flaw, it's a design choice. But here's the joke. Telling a beginner they can't see everything with this scope is like telling a kid in a candy store they can't eat the entire building. There's more than enough sugar here to give you a lifelong cavity of cosmic wonder. And besides, learning what each type of telescope is good for is part of the journey. This one teaches you the beauty of fine detail. Now let's address the practicalities, because a telescope that's a pain to use is a telescope that won't be used. \n setup is famously straightforward. The single fork arm mount is light but sturdy. The tripod is aluminum and adjusts easily. The most complex part is putting the scope onto the mount, which involves lining up a single screw. It's harder to assemble a cheap bookshelf. Power comes from 8 AA batteries in the base, but I cannot stress this enough. Invest in the optional AC adapter or a portable power tank. The motors are power-hungry, and nothing kills a stargazing session faster than the dreaded low battery warning right as Jupiter comes into view. It's like the universe itself is telling you to go to bed. The hand controller is intuitive, with a backlit screen that's easy to read in the dark. The motors, while not whisper quiet, have a satisfying, sci-fi sound to them. They're precise enough for visual observation. But is it perfect? Of course not. The mount is adequate, not ultra-heavy duty. A gentle breeze will cause the image to shimmy, and you'll need to wait a moment for it to settle when focusing or after a slew. Touching the scope to focus requires a soft touch. This isn't an observatory-grade rig. It's a brilliantly designed entry point. Therefore, consider this. The minor vibrations are a small price to pay for the sheer accessibility it provides. Which leads me to the third and most important reason you need to try this telescope. \n reason 3 is the hidden benefit nobody talks about. It turns astronomy from a solo chore into a social event. This is the ultimate party trick of the intellectual set. Imagine this, you've got friends over, it's a clear night. Instead of just another movie, you say, hey, wanna see Saturn? You carry the NexStar outside. In 5 minutes it's aligned. You punch a button. The scope whirs to life, gracefully moving toward its target. The suspense builds. You invite your friend to look. Their reaction is pure, unfiltered awe. Oh my God, it's real. I can see the rings. That moment is priceless. You're not just showing them a picture, you're giving them a direct, personal connection to the cosmos. You become the guide. It creates shared experiences and memories that last far longer than any Netflix show. But therefore, this telescope isn't just about what you see. It's about who you see it with. It makes you the coolest host on the block, the favorite uncle, the friend with the secret window to the universe. It democratizes the stars. And that's a power no manual scope can easily provide, especially when you're trying to find a faint fuzzy for the fifth time while your guests get bored and check their phones. Speaking of guests, the optics are good enough that you'll want to share. The included 25mm eyepiece is decent, but here's a pro tip. The first accessory you should buy is a better eyepiece, like a 10 or 15 Plursal, to really push the magnification on planets. It's like upgrading from standard definition to HD on your cosmic TV. \n now, let's tackle some final realities. Collimation, the alignment of the optics, is something all reflector and compound telescope owners dread. Here's the good news. The Maksutov design in the 127 SLT is incredibly stable. It rarely, if ever, needs collimation. That's one less technical headache. Portability is a huge win. The whole system breaks down into two main parts, the optical tube and the mount tripod. It fits easily in most car trunks. You can take it to a dark sky site without needing a moving crew. Maintenance is minimal. Keep the lens cap on when not in use and store it in a dry place. It's almost appliance-like in its simplicity. But is it the only telescope you'll ever need? Probably not. The astronomy bug is vicious. You might eventually crave a bigger aperture for fainter galaxies or a wide-field refractor for sweeping starscapes. That's okay. The Celestron NexStar 127SLT is not necessarily your last telescope. It is, however, the perfect first serious telescope. It's the one that will ensure you have a first telescope that actually gets used, not abandoned. Therefore, it's an investment in a hobby, not just a purchase of a product. \n. So, let's recap the 3 reasons you need to try this scope. 1. The computerized GoTo system is not a cheat code. It's a patient, brilliant teacher that delivers immediate success and builds your knowledge of the sky faster than any star chart. 2. The Maksutov-Cassegrain optics deliver stunningly sharp, detailed views of the moon and planets in a compact, portable tube that's ready for adventure at a moment's notice. And 3. It transforms stargazing from a frustrating, lonely task into an effortless, shareable wonder that will make you the hero of any backyard gathering. It removes the barriers between you and the universe. But maybe the best proof is this. After years of reviewing gear, the moments I remember most aren't from the biggest, most expensive scopes. They're from nights with scopes like this, where the technology faded into the background, and all that was left was the sheer, childlike wonder of seeing another world with my own eyes. The Celestron NexStar 127SLT is a key that unlocks that door. And the best part, the door is open right now. For the best price on Amazon and to start your own journey, click the link in the description below.